Good morning. Welcome to the Lord Selkirk West Kelowna Community Committee meeting for this June 25th, 2024, kicking off at 9:34 a.m. I'd like to begin, before I introduce the people here today, I would like to acknowledge that we are here on Treaty 1 land, the home of the Anishinaabe, Innu, and the Dakota people, and it's the traditional homeland of the Red River Métis. And I would just like to say that the Inuit also live here on Treaty 1 land, and have just recently opened up the Inuit Center on Selkirk Avenue. Thank you. And our water comes from Shoal Lake 40. My name is Ross Eady. I'm the city councillor for the Mynarski ward, and I'm your chairperson today. And with us today, we have Councillor Sharma from the Old Kildonan ward, and as well as we have, Simi. And we have our senior clerk, Mr. Peter Prinsloo, and Holly's operating the live feed.
Mr. Chair, I'll move a motion that Councillor Santos.
Let's do the minutes.
Sure. First. I'll move the minutes of the meeting held on May 28th, 2024 be taken as read and confirmed.
All right. Thank you very much. Everybody's in favor. Thank you. Then you have a motion.
Sure. I'll now move that Councillor Santos will be away due to city business.
Yeah. All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed. That is carried. Now we'll move into delegations today. We received a message from Inspector Dudek. She informed us that there are some issues with pulling statistics out of our system, and that given that she can't really report on activity in the Lord Selkirk West Kelowna Community area, she won't be here today. So that moves us right into our second delegation is Mr. Warren Mills. It says principal on the plan approval for the 1488 Main Street, an excellent project in the Mynarski. Would you like to come up, Mr. Mills? Do you have anybody you wanted to bring with you, or?
If there's others that would like to join.
Are there any other people who'd like to join you, Mr. Mills?
I'd like to describe the project briefly overview in principle, and then Naomi will speak with regards to the matters of the project.
Okay.
Then just
Yeah, she can go there because you're not registered.
Come up with synthesize Mr. Mills.
So, councillors, if we can just get a suspension of the rules for these.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Councillor Sharma to suspend the rules. All those in favor? Nobody's opposed. That's carried. Thank you.
We last saw you on September 26th of 2023. The project has made substantial progress since then. Financing is in place. The construction drawings are 99%. A foundation permit has been applied for, and Vauxhall Construction is out for tender on the foundation. Very soon to be able to tender on the entire building. We're negotiating the business terms of the matter, as we always seem to be, but the project is strong, and we look forward to being in the ground in probably early September. We haven't set a date for a soft term as yet, but one will be announced, and the councillors would certainly be advised. We appreciate all the advice and direction that we received from Councillors E, Sharma, and Santos. We thank you, as we always do, for the advice. We put a lot of time into the exterior of the building. The main floor, full brick. Darker colors on the project. Effort has been put into the landscaping to improve it. The garbage collection has been attended to, and we're going with earth bins, which will collect a lot more refuse and hold it we believe in a cleaner shape. We continue to proceed with the co-op car that we will have for both the residents, but as well as for the community's use. And subject to need and demand, we would consider a second car once the project is up and running. I don't have much other to offer. We're looking seriously at solar installation on the roof to take advantage of the clear lines above the tree canopy. And we've had some talk of putting the solar back in the grid. It hasn't been worthwhile, so we're looking at methods of putting the solar back into the building. And I associate the Nucas project manager, George, is working on that as we speak. I'm not aware of any, the only change from the last time we met you in September really was, as you know, we were appealed. At appeal, one of the counselors in the appeal process caused us to install additional bike parking. So I can assure you that if you have a bicycle in the area, we have parking for it. We had the 50% parking in the building. We now have bicycle parking at all the interior parking stalls. It'll be interesting to see if there's demand, but it's allowed for. I don't have much else on the plans per se. Affinity Architecture, who's done a lot of affordable housing in the city, has done a strong job. I'd like to make mention of our consultants from Structural, provided us with a very well thought out, again, non-combustible building. CGM Mechanical provided us with, amongst other things, separate metering for electrical and water, so that tenants will have the ability to control their costs rather than being assigned their costs. I'd like to, in passing, note that our associate Wayne Woman has retired. You won't be seeing Wayne in front of you. Wayne moved to Edmonton. I believe he's watching this program now. And Wayne moved closer to his grandchildren. We missed his wife's input, but we couldn't be happier with this decision. Really, unless the councilors have any specific questions, I'd answer them, and then I'd turn the floor over to Naomi to describe the essence of the project.
Councilor Sharma, do you have?
We can hear from Naomi maybe and then do questions. Sure.
Yeah.
If you need to go the other one.
I know that one will figure out.
Yeah, okay. Sounds good. Hi, my name is Naomi Gichungu, and I'm the board chair at Inuka Community Inc. So we are a non-profit that is Black-led and women-led. We call ourselves a wannabe real estate developer, and we're getting there. Our vision is to create diverse communities by growing the supply of community-owned, energy-efficient, affordable housing for low to moderate income households. Inuka is a Swahili word, which means to rise or to uplift. I was talking earlier about how Inuka started. During the pandemic, a number of us came together. I actually recall that number was about 58. And we came together and we said, what can we do? Because what we found is a lot of folks within our community were getting into affordable home ownership at the 10th year mark. And we wanted to do something to have a difference with that timeline. So we had an ambitious goal of bringing that to 7 years. What we didn't know is that we needed to actually serve the community from the affordable rental and get them all the way through a continuum of affordable home ownership. So that is the goal that we've set out for ourselves. With this current project, we've already begun recruiting our tenants. We received a grant through the Foundation for Black Communities to be able to begin the process of testing out some of the supports that we will be offering to the families when they eventually become our tenant community. We're thinking of some of the families as newcomers and refugees, low-income families, people who may be exiting family violence situations, youth who may be in the child welfare system, lone parent households, and all of this systems and places have Black folks that are trapped within sort of like the multiple barriers to affordable housing. The programs that we're going to be testing this summer with some of the folks that will eventually become our tenants. We're going to be testing this with about 90 folks, 90 households, is financial health coaching. And our goal is to be able to look at each household and figure out what that pathway is for affordable home ownership within that continuum of 7 to 12 years. We're going to be also testing out credit building, so supporting folks to report their rents in the places that they live right now. And the intent is for us to increase credit scores between now and the time that they will be joining our tenant community. The other program that we're testing out is increased savings rate. So we're working with folks to see if they can begin to get into that habit of saving. And the goal is for them to save at least 1 month's rent as an emergency fund. We're also going to be testing, this may not be possible for this time, but we're going to be testing an emergency bill payment program where we will support folks if, let's say, you're behind on your hydro bill, and the Inuka building has opportunities for you to participate in the building maintenance, such as cleaning, repairs here and there. We can actually pay that hydro bill directly onto the company that's owing. So that's often a hydro bill, water bill, or phone bill, and others. We're going to also be supporting tenants with the moving. So if folks need pest treatment, for bed bugs and cockroaches, we're going to be supporting that work. We're also, I touched on this a little bit, meaningful employment. We're working with our general contractor to figure out what positions Black folks can take advantage of through this project. So we're ideally looking at opportunities for employment for Black folks through this 1488 Main Street project. And we're also going to, as part of another program, mental health counseling. So we have a member of Inuka that has offered their support to folks that will be participating in this tenant recruitment process and post the recruitment. And then the last thing is the co-op car sharing. We also want to test out if we can support some folks to even get a driver's license so that it's possible for people to be able to use the co-op car once we have it in the building. So those are the supports that we're actually going to be testing out between now and when the building will be completed. And once the building is completed, some of those folks are the ones who will move into the affordable units. They've already been introduced into this support, and the intent is to continue with them so that eventually we can achieve that goal of getting people to move from sort of like affordable rental all the way to affordable home ownership within that 12-year continuum. And so this is what Inuka has been planning. We meet every Monday night. On Tuesdays, we meet with our consultants. On Thursdays, we're meeting with our general contractor and other consultants. And on Saturday, it's an all-day affair where we meet to plan this project. And we are really appreciative to all of our consultants. And Warren has just worked with us those late night calls trying to support us through that project. We're very excited too for the support that we've received from the city, straight from the mayor's office to the councillors. We're very grateful and to other levels of government as well.
Excellent. Yeah, it's exciting when it starts to get built and finished, right? So, Councillor Sharman, did you have any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've all been watching this project. I've been involved as someone that's on this committee. It's very, very exciting. A lot of hard work has gone into where you are today. Just so impressed with the whole team that you've put together. In terms of late night calls, I think we've had a few as well. We have to fit all the work in, and so it's 8 days a week, this job. Mr. Chair, as you know, this model that you talked about, some insight you gave us into what you do to help people, to meet them where they're at, to get them into your space, and to propel them along to get into that home ownership, that's the ultimate goal. Where did you come up with that model, and which resources did you use?
Mhm. So as a community, we all work in different spaces and we've all been through this experience. I remember sort of like living in a rooming house and needing all of the supports. My colleagues have also come here either as a family or a student, and everyone has in some way actually worked in the community sector. So we've been the folks that have needed this support, and we've been the folks that have facilitated this support for others. So as we've gone, we've kind of mapped out what makes sense and what was helpful for us and for others within the Inuka community. And so we've really used that knowledge and wisdom to bring this together. We were very glad to have received a grant from the Foundation for Black Communities recently to be able to begin to test out this support. But otherwise, it's a lot of sweat equity from our team. None of us is really getting paid a dime for this work. But it's so interesting when you kind of see the team just moving and not relenting and just making sure that we give the best. When we are at the table, and Warren can attest to this, when we're at the table, we often center everything to, but we're doing this for Black families. And so whatever decision we make, what would a Black family do? And that is really the goal of why we're doing this. And so that we've been really grounded, and that has really helped us in decision making. A quick example would be even with the energy modeling. Our goal was to figure out how much will that bill be for that family, and that made sort of like a lot of decisions make sense for us as we were moving towards making sure that our utilities will be affordable for families. So I think to really answer that question, it's really passion from people who have experienced it, people who have offered it to others, and people who are putting in time to make sure that others succeed.
That's great. It makes so much sense to pull from that lived experience, is what you've stated here today. In terms of the construction timeline, I think you noted that. Could you just run through that again? The construction timeline.
Construction.
Yeah, you're hoping the sod turning will be in the fall?
Well, there's always a problem
Okay.
in this process, but we hope to, we have now applied for construction building permits. We started that process. So to answer specifically, Councillor Sharma, we hope to be in the ground in September. And it is our goal that the following Christmas, we will have families in the building. That's our target date. We're getting a little pushback on the schedule right now, but we will be addressing that shortly.
Great. And just for the public record, could you go through some of the materials you're using, what the building's going to look like outside?
So
Yes.
the building is non-combustible, unlike many other multi-families built in Winnipeg. From the start, Inuka established a very high bar for building quality. We have a non-combustible building. We are 19% under the energy code. We worked diligently with a consulting firm from Quebec who brought the best knowledge to the table. Andre and his team at MRA have been spectacular. They've given us options and alternatives. We've shaped the building to, as Naomi mentioned, to assist the tenants in the lowest possible, in not only the lowest possible energy bills, but the ability to control their energy costs. And those have been important. we've done a lot of work with our development manager and our property owner, Brent Kalnitsky, in arriving, using all of our combined knowledge to just arrive at it's been an interesting process, Councillor Sharma. The decisions haven't been made for financial reasons. They've been made for reasons of durability and service to the tenant. And it's been interesting watching consultants and myself trained on rate of return development, working with a group that sets that aside to a certain extent and whose values and priorities are durability and quality. So every decision in the building we ultimately defer to quality. It's been beyond fun.
Mhm.
But I must say, I anticipate that the Inuka team has spent more than 3,000 hours of volunteer nonprofit time providing Brent and I with input, advice, and direction on what their dream was. And it's been fun to convert the dream to reality.
No doubt, it would be a lot of hours and your commitment, we noticed that. It's not a jump into the project every month, there's a weekly schedule that you outlined and we appreciate your dedication. Before I pass it back to you, Mr. Chair, I just wanted to also acknowledge Wayne Bowman for all his efforts. He and I had many conversations on this project and it's a real pleasure. His heart is very much in it as well.
Well, I greatly appreciate the councillors, Sharma, Santos, and Eby, who all reached out and stayed with the project through the gestation period. And your input has been appreciated, and it must be acknowledged.
Thank you.
Great, thank you, Councillor Sharma. Just so the public knows, like, you know, we hear about affordable, you know, the median market, I was very interested. What is the affordable rent point in dollar value?
I'll let Mayo speak to that.
Okay, yeah, so for a 1 bedroom, it's $595. This unit is pretty huge. It's probably just shy of 630 probably square feet.
Somewhere close to 700.
Yeah, so it's a really huge unit for just someone to be living in. And then the 3 bedroom is about just slightly over 1,300. And I should say that this unit is actually bigger than my actual house. So it's over 1,100 square feet. So it's really exciting to be able to have families be dignified kind of through this experience of having the balance of affordability, but also having a very sort of like a very large space and a decent building to live in.
That sounds great. So actually, I wanted to just, before I ask the next, I just wanted to acknowledge Wayne as well. Warren, I know, and I know you put in a lot of time. But I just wanted to note that Wayne went above and beyond and took a floater on a bit of ice, putting out the community consultation information and literature. And I appreciate that he was still able to go out and play. It's a good thing he can go and visit his grandchildren and play with them and everything after that experience. In terms of the community, again, can you just let me know, like, so, you know, there's supports for the people who are moving in. But could you just explain again what you're doing for the community as a whole?
For the community as a whole, I believe just having a new population, Black families coming into the area will really enrich sort of like the area. Thinking about the businesses that are adjacent to the building, There's a huge opportunity there for those businesses to grow because of the new population and new community that's coming into the area. And I would say too that it wouldn't just be Black families that occupy the building. Those are the affordable units that will be dedicated to Black families, but the building will be filled with diversity of people from different groups for sure. And so just that opportunity for sort of like people to be in one space, to get to know each other. And yeah, that's very appreciated obviously through this project. We've lived in kind of Winnipeg and Treaty 1, and we're very privileged to be welcomed here. And so that opportunity for people to interact with everyone is one thing that I'm really looking forward to. And I will say that the opportunity for Inuka to probably even develop a next project kind of within the same neighborhood is another plus that will probably come to the community. And we've really, in terms of the design of the building, we've really tried to think about all of the things that may impact the community that's around there. And so we're doing all that we need to do to make sure that our neighbors will also be good neighbors and that we won't be offending them in different ways with the structure of the building or the design of the building. And I'm just thinking about like balconies and shadows and stuff like that. And so we'll have to think a lot more about sort of like how we benefit the community further. I think we've probably started looking internally, and we'll probably begin to look outwards.
I heard something about how many co-op cars are there going to be associated with this property?
Council, the initial intent is one. However, we commit that we will monitor demand, and if the community, if there is demand, we won't hesitate to purchase and place a second vehicle. I also wanted to say, just in passing, part of it was the concern that was raised initially. We like to think the co-op cars help to address the use of vehicle concerns. But it's also important to note that through good planning and good design, we were able to increase the parking. It's a small amount, but we provided 3 additional parking stalls. It wasn't in our variance, but we were able to do it, and in the spirit of the concern raised, we did.
Okay, I was reading about the exterior material and how it's going to look. It sounds like it'll be non-combustible, safe, but it does sound like high quality material on the exterior that will last the length of time and durable, I think is the word you used, right? So can you just explain, just so some of the public could hear, like the color kind of look and feel that you're going to have on the exterior?
Yes, Council, we assigned an interior designer with McLaren to the new team almost a year ago. Excuse me. They've been working with color and texture. Main floor of the building, we looked at we spent Saturdays looking at a variety of full brick alternatives and solutions. The building is darker colors. I believe the colors are of the Canyon flag, and it won't be apparent to many of us who aren't familiar with the Canyon flag, but the residents will see and respect those colors in the building design selection. The landscaping, although I don't believe it was a variance requirement, your planner requested ornamental battle fencing along the south property line.
Yeah, long line stuff.
We incorporated that without hesitation. The landscaping is substantial. And we have asked Blockstall in the tendering process to, as an alternative cost, to tell us what more mature growth in the landscaping, in the initial landscaping would cost us. We will look at that. We spent some time, and we are currently working with Manitoba Hydro to remove the abandoned hydro lines along the north property line. They're unsightly and they're unnecessary, and they no longer service the site. So I believe they'll be removed, certainly at our expense.
Last corner, I think I ran into one day.
By the looks of them, they've been run into by several people. They're not alone. But generally, we've met with the adjacent property owner and talked about the look and the quality of the building present. But it will be a proud solution. There haven't been the decisions on the exterior finishes have been made based on value and durability, not on cost.
Great, well, that's all the questions I have. Thanks again for your, it's report number 2 and looking forward to that. So thank you very much. Warren, Naomi.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next delegation, sorry, I'm just, can't get in my email again, let's do. Sorry. Joel. Trank, is that how you pronounce it? Joel Trank?
That's correct.
Architectural technologist, Affinity Nerd Inc. On property, plan approval and Goodman report number 3. Sorry. Are you there, Joel?
Hello.
Oh, he's joining by Zoom?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Welcome. You have 10 minutes to describe your project and I'm sure we'll have questions for you after.
Excellent. Thank you. So good morning, councillors, and thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak. I'm just going to share a brief presentation. Can everyone see what's on my screen here?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So yeah, my name is Joel Trank and I'm a senior architectural technologist at Affinity Architecture. And I just wanted to share a brief presentation about a new project for a series of townhouses that we're proposing for a site at the Highland Point development between McPhillips and Goodman Drive. I just wanted to touch on some of the project highlights. So just for context, this particular development is the parcel located in blue on this map from Ladco. It is lot 49 in the Highland Point development. Highland Point, of course, is a mix of single and multifamily lots, including some commercial as well. Our project is located in one of the RMFS lots. Our client is Discovery Homes, and they're looking to bring a high quality project to Highland Point in keeping with their goals of providing good aesthetic quality and a keen sense of detail. Just to touch on the site briefly, this particular site layout is an excerpt from the plan approval package that was submitted to the planners and that you have access to. So as a brief overview, there are 57 proposed townhouse units consisting of 2 stories with a basement. There is an interior loop of circulation to ensure a comfortable flow of traffic and to permit public refuse pickup. Each unit is set to receive a garage and driveway. And in conjunction with the planner, Grace Simi, we've worked very closely with her to provide as long as driveways as possible to eliminate conflicts between overhanging vehicles and the sidewalks. And so I think that turned out to be a positive engagement with the planning department. Although our parking category is category 1 for row dwelling units, which only requires a 1-to-1 parking ratio, through the implementation of our garages and our driveways, we're able to achieve more like a 2-to-1 parking ratio. So that's, basically a total stalls of 114 to our 57 units. Again, this particular sheet is our landscaping layout, which is another excerpt from the plan approval package. Our landscape architect is proposing a high quality plan commensurate with the quality of the development. The quantity and variety of planting far exceeds the minimums in the zoning bylaw. You will note that there are trees, shrubs, and a fence located along Goodman Drive for a pleasing approach to the development. And trees and shrubs will also greet the occupants of every unit. The occupants of every unit as they walk through their front doors. So it'll be a quite nice, green, comfortable little development. This exterior concept was just put together to better help visualize the exterior facade from the package that was supplied, which was more of a 2D elevation. So as per that planning submission, we're using a palette of charcoal cultured stone and accent siding, supported by a backdrop of light stucco. And we're hoping that this will result in a simple, timeless appearance that won't overstay its welcome. We've provided gable overhangs at the entry and garage to provide visual interest. And you will note that the second floor jogs back and forth, again, for a bit of visual interest to break up the exterior. Just to note a minor discrepancy between this rendering that you see here and the submission on the plan approval package. Our intent was to have, hopefully you can see my mouse, was to have charcoal siding for the bump outs here. Just again, for a bit more contrast on the face. Unfortunately, that didn't make it into the rendering in time for this plan, for this committee hearing. But our intent is to follow the plan approval package. So apologies for that confusion. And then finally, for the rear of the row houses, we're going to keep them quite simple, but we will break up the mass of the townhouse with a black band that wraps around the entire building. And for the townhouse units facing Goodman Drive, we will add some black window trims and charcoal siding, along with an accent gable to, again, help break up the monotony of the rear facade and provide a higher quality aesthetic along Goodman Drive. So yes, this is our presentation in a nutshell. So thank you for your time, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have to the best of my ability.
Thank you, Mr. Frank. Councillor Sharma, I'm sure you have some questions.
Thank you. Joel, your client's not here today?
No, they're watching on YouTube, but they're not a delegate registered to speak.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for the summary that you've provided today. There's no visitor parking that's showing currently. And there's probably not a whole lot of, or any visitor parking on Goodman. Is that correct? And how could the plan be tweaked to
Yeah.
allow visitor parking?
Yes, thank you for that question, Counselor. The visitor parking was something that we initially had in our plan. However, the rules surrounding parking for this type of row house development are slightly nebulous when it comes to how to incorporate visitor parking and what that would mean. So our parking category is category 1, which again would only require a 1-to-1 parking ratio. Now with our extended driveways, the idea there is that visitors should be able to make use of the driveways themselves as well. And so if you look at the other categories for multifamily developments, those parking ratios are 1.5 to 1.5 stalls per dwelling. So we are providing 50% more than what that bylaw would require. In speaking with the planning department, if we were to provide visitor parking, that would push this development into a different parking category. And we would need to provide 4 stalls of visitor parking, 2 of which would be barrier-free van stalls. And so the concern there is that we would be creating, visitor parking that would be located somewhere around the site, but it would be for barrier-free parking only, mostly. And so if a visitor were visiting a house, let's say in the opposite corner of the development, the barrier-free visitor parking would be up in the corner, and it's much more likely that visitors just park at the house that they're visiting.
So Joel, this is my common sense approach to this.
Sure.
I've seen a lot of developments. There's huge growth in the north. There's textbook, as you outlined. And in terms of barrier-free parking, I think common sense tells you when someone needs barrier-free parking and you're visiting someone, they're going to empty their driveway or even their garage, have their family member visit or their friend, even if it means they have to go park a few blocks themselves away. I have seen this firsthand.
Yep.
So that probably would occur. I think we can all agree on that.
Sure. Yeah.
But what we've seen in other similar developments like this in the area in the north, which you have toured or your team has, and I wish the client was on the screen as well. We've had some conversations. I think we need to take another look at this, and we may land where we are right now, but we need to take a look at what we can do about visitor parking, because in my experience, there are complaints after the fact. And I think your client wants a successful development. They want people to be buying here, but then being happy with their purchase and able to visit with friends and family at their home. So there's textbook, there's common sense to make something successful. So I think we're going to have to bridge that gap and take a look at that. It won't be today. I think it's difficult to make changes on the fly. Doesn't always work well.
Yeah. If I may, could I bring up the site plan just to have a quick discussion about that? Or
And also, some of your units have a shorter driveway, so cars will be hanging off the driveway. That's correct?
so we have about 5 units which will have at least a 16-foot forward driveway, and it goes up from there. So generally the average is around 18 feet. We have one unit that has a 16-foot one driveway. However, there's no sidewalk located there.
Right, okay.
Okay.
We'll look at that as well, so you're gonna bring something up?
Yeah. So I'm going to share, this is the site plan from the plan approval. From the submission package, so
Okay, is this in the package, Joel?
yes, it is.
Yeah, we're seeing it.
Okay. So I agree completely, Councillor Sharma, with your statement regarding the barrier-free parking not really making sense if we were to allocate it, if we were to allocate a zone for barrier-free parking, or for parking in general, that it wouldn't make sense to devote space to barrier-free parking because it would take up half of the stalls that we require. And so most of it's going to be left open, and anyone in a wheelchair or needing barrier-free access is going to have to go quite a ways, right? However, the zoning bylaw isn't quite written that way, and in the interpretations that we're receiving to date, wouldn't support that logic that frankly I agree with. So we do have some areas, notably here and here.
Okay, so you have two areas you're circling. One of them is for snow storage.
Yeah.
And the other one is for,
It was initially located for fire truck backup. However, with our later plans, we managed to get a circular route of circulation through our site. So it was kind of, this is just sort of a leftover appendage, which we could use either for snow storage or parking, right? So what I'm suggesting would be quite easy for us would to be either, you know, swap the snow storage areas for either of these locations and reintroduce some parking if we need to do that. I think if we were to do parking at this snow storage area, they would be the most highly visible and the you know, the most connected to the majority of our units. You know, so that's something that we could execute on and make it a condition, let's say, of a future development permit, that this element is incorporated as part of the plan. But I think zoning may have to also agree to the concept here as well.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something that can be looked at, but snow storage is likely required as well. You will be hauling snow away, but it still needs to sit there for a while. right?
Correct, yes.
Where is snow storage going and where is parking going? We'll have to figure that out. But those are some possible options, but again, snow storage is also needed.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Joel, in terms of the driveway, you said some of them will be 16 feet.
Yes,
16, the cars do hang over the driveway. Because
Yeah.
there's similar development that your client has toured. And there, the driveways are 16 to 18 feet
okay,
hanging over the driveway.
okay,
So if that's what we want, then that's what we're gonna get here. But as we turn the corner on the end, it's not great that cars will be hanging off the driveway. Creates a safety issue.
Mhm.
You should tell your whole team this actually, because we don't want this repeated. And it's good information to share. Folks are passionate about parking and getting in and out and with kids and elders and to be safe, right?
Mhm.
I think it's important. We're gonna take a look at this. Do you agree? I don't think we're gonna solve this here today on the screen, and I don't think your client's surprised. I did have a brief conversation with them several times actually recently. So we want this to be a success. No doubt folks will want to live here. It's a well sought out area.
Mhm.
New schools coming online, et cetera, but we need to get it better and more right. Not that we're gonna get it perfect, but I think we need to have a little bit more conversation around this.
Yeah. Yeah, the site is fairly tight. So, and we did explore several options to try and maximize these depths of driveways.
Right,
Again, to the letter of the bylaw, we only need one stall per unit. So that driveway is technically not required.
Yeah.
So.
well, you'll decide, your client will decide what the market dictates, what product they want to put out there.
Mhm.
And there's no bus service here coming at this area currently. And it won't be there for a while. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No, I was not aware of that.
There's no bus service.
Yeah.
Okay, is there anything else you wanted to add? So there's some takeaways to work on the snow storage, work on visitor parking. And then the intent is, I believe, to deal with this at a future meeting.
Yeah, now, is there like a couple of things that I can see right away, like if that we could potentially do is if we delete 2 units, we would certainly gain more space, likely sufficient for parking. Because,
Mr. Train,
yes,
and Councillor Sharma, I don't think this is the right venue to
Sure.
discuss and try to figure out how
Yeah.
it's gonna be.
yeah, sure.
I agree, but that last comment, is worthwhile and that's something that can be worked offline with all parties, Joel. So obviously, taking out a unit or 2 is always viable to achieve goals like this. But I'll leave that, if you can converse with our planner and certainly appreciate conversing with my office as well.
Yep.
Okay. Good.
Okay, thank you.
But it's exciting and it's good housing stock. We just need to get it a little bit more right.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you, Joel.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I'm excited that things are progressing and Old Kildonan nicely.
Thank you. Okay,
All right, thank you, Mr. Trank. We'll be dealing with the report, which sounds like it'll be we'll extend it to the next week council meeting or when it's
yes,
ready.
yes.
Our committee meeting, or when it's ready, we could hold a special meeting. Okay, so that's it for delegations. So we'll move right into reports. Report number 1 is an occasional liquor permit. I can't remember which one this is. This is the.
Are we taking a recess there?
Do you want to just go through
The next one?
well, no, we are going to take a break. Sorry, never mind. We'll hold off on reports till after the hearing. I need a break.
I thought so.
I just spent a bunch of time trying to get logged into my email.
Okay, so I'll move adjournment for a short recess.
Yeah, that's fine. We're all good. We'll be back at 22,
Thank you.
11. I'd like to call the meeting of the Lord Selkirk West Kildonan Committee back to order for hearing purposes on this June the 25th, 2024 at 10:49 a.m. We are meeting here on Treaty 1 land, the traditional land of the Anishinaabe, the Innu, Cree, and the Dakota, and the Dakota people, it's, the homeland, traditional homeland of the Red River Métis, where we get our water, from Shoal Lake 40, and Again, I'll mention that the Inuit and other Indigenous peoples are part of Winnipeg as well. I'm Ross Eady. I'm the chairperson today. I'm the city council for the Minorski ward, and with us we have Councillor Sharma from the old Kildonan ward. And our colleague, Councillor Santos, is not able to make it. She's on business elsewhere. And with us from the administration, we have Cindy Perez, our excellent planner. And at the helm and in control, Mr. Peter Prinsloo is our senior clerk.
Thank you. We also have Mr.
Oh.
Kevin Wallach here as well.
Oh, sorry, Kevin.
All right. In accordance with the City of Winnipeg Charter and the Development Procedures Bylaw, the process the committee will follow is the applicant will be heard first, followed by those in support of the application. Next, those registered in opposition are heard, followed by those registered for information. Finally, the applicant may return to speak in rebuttal to comments made. However, no new information is permitted. Please note that when your name is called, it is your opportunity to speak. However, you are not obligated to do so. For a more in-depth overview of the public hearing process and other information pertaining to what happens before, during, and after a public hearing, please consult the public hearing process brochure, which is available on the City Clerk's Department website. Please note that all public hearings are recorded and will be part of the public record. Should you have any questions after the hearings have concluded, please contact the City Clerk's Department. Item 1 is a subdivision and rezoning on land located on the south side of Court Avenue, east of Pipeline Road, under file DASZ 19/2024. In accordance with the City of Winnipeg Charter and the Development Procedures Bylaw, this is a combined hearing, and the following item will also be heard at the same time, namely, Item 2 is a variance on land located on the south side of Court Avenue, east of Pipeline Road, under file DAV 124565/2024D. And at this time, I'll hand it over to the planning department to give us an overview of the matter.
Thank you. The site is located on the south side of Court Avenue. It's between Pipeline Road and McPhillip Street in the Leland North neighborhood of the Old Kildonan ward. It's located within the medium-density residential policy area per the precinct plan. The proposal involves rezoning the land to RMFM, residential multifamily medium, to accommodate a stacked townhouse development. This application also includes the subdivision of a 16.51-foot strip running the width of the lot of the site, which is 717 feet. That totals approximately 11,847 square feet, and that's to accommodate a 4.5-foot road widening, in addition to a future multi-use pathway. A total of 184 dwelling units are being proposed, and that includes a mix of 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom units. The average lot density is about 884 square feet per dwelling unit, or 49 units per acre. And 8 of the 10 proposed buildings would consist of 20 units. The remaining 2 would include 12 units. So it is a total of 10 buildings, about 37 feet 9 inches in height. Each of the building designs has lower units. The basement and main floor are 1 unit and stacked with a unit on the 2nd and 3rd floor. The cladding materials are the same across all of the buildings, horizontal siding and vertical panels. The details and amounts aren't identified at this stage. And the proposed front yard on Court Avenue would be between 8 feet and 8 feet 9 inches. The variance is requested for that, as the 2 end buildings are set back slightly further than the center 3. So there's 2 rows of 5 buildings. For each of the 5 buildings proposed along Court, three sets of stairs would project into that front yard, with roughly 3 feet 9 inches to the front property line. Site access is from two approaches on Court Avenue. There are a total of 250 parking stalls proposed. They're located behind the proposed buildings and along the rear property line. This includes 7 accessible stalls and 110 small car parking spaces. So that requires a variance for 44% of the total number of parking spaces. The applicant is proposing to provide a total of 27 bicycle parking spaces on the site. There are bike racks shown beside the front approaches within that reduced front yard, abutting the future multi-use pathway, as well as a secure parking structure in the southeast corner of the site. Details, again, aren't provided at this stage of development. With regard to amenity space, the drawings show a number of pergolas on site. It's a total of 10 of them. 4 large oval pergolas provided over walkways between the 3 buildings interior to the site. And a total of 6 8 by 12-foot pergolas in the east side yard, 2 in the east side yard and 4 in the west side yard. In addition to that, the site plan has provided for 20 benches along Court Avenue, that property line abutting the future multi-use pathway. And some nice landscaping in that area as well. And there's, I'll just note that there's a 6-foot fence provided along the side property lines, that's wood, and a 6-foot chain link fence with privacy slats indicated along the rear of the site. The landscaping is quite close to the amounts required, with a reduction for parking lot interior landscaping. And I'll note that the applicant has worked quite collaboratively with us. While not agreeing on all points, they did submit a pre-application in 2023, and they've revised the proposal quite significantly to better align with the pre-application feedback provided from public service partners, as well as to align better with the secondary plan, taking into account the future AT pathway. And we've met on multiple occasions to discuss the proposal as it progressed. The Urban Planning and Design Division provided some site planning and design feedback, in particular regarding reducing the number of variances. The applicant has chosen to proceed at this stage, suggesting that we could address most of this through plan approval. In addition, they did undertake a public engagement process. They can tell a little bit more about that. So that we've recommended approval of the DAS said application with conditions, including a zoning agreement recommending plan approval to Lord Selkirk Community Committee, a height cap of 38 feet, slightly greater than the RMFS standards, in line with the secondary plan requirement for 3-story development. The applicant has requested that we consider revising that to 40 feet. The public service would be comfortable with that minor change. We've recommended in the zoning agreement a minimum front yard setback of 15 feet along the north property line along Court, and a minimum 6-foot opaque fence along the length of the south property line, which we should have specified wood because chain link with slats is an opaque fence. And finally, a minimum 5-foot landscape buffer along the length of the south property line. The variance report has recommended approval in part as modified. So the requests were for a front yard of 8 feet, which we've modified, and that's instead of 37 feet, which we have modified to a recommendation of 15 feet. There's a variance for 250 parking spaces instead of 276. We're supportive of. And with regard to the open parking area, we did not support a west side yard of 7.5 feet instead of 8 feet. We did not support insufficient parking lot interior landscaping. We have supported 44% small car parking spaces instead of 33%. And we have supported parking spaces within 10 feet of a habitable room where the sill is less than 5 feet from grade. And that's subject to a few conditions, including a total of 27 fully secure bicycle parking stalls. The condition does say indoor, which we, in discussion with the applicant, would like to note a clarification that should be weather protected rather than indoor. I guess that was the intent, was thinking it would be structured parking, but we could see how that would be, that could be limiting. We've also recommended a condition that a light proof fence 3 feet in height be provided for the parking spaces that are within 10 feet of a habitable room. And finally, that's the standard, the 2 years. So we do feel that the proposed subdivision and rezoning results in a development plan that aligns with complete communities and with the precinct plan and would be compatible with the surrounding area. And this application results in the urbanization of Court Avenue, including land provided for the road widening and a future multi-use pathway. With that, I welcome any questions.
Questions, Councilor?
Not at this time.
I have only one question.
Yes.
To the south of this property, is that the Seven Oaks Wellness Center?
No, it's not the wellness center. There is a seniors residence,
St. Joseph.
St. Joseph's, and the wellness center is a little bit further east.
Further east. Okay. All right, thanks. All right. Yeah.
Absolutely. So first up, we have Brendan Johnson and Brendan Salco.
Brendan Solko, you have 10 minutes to make your presentation.
Thank you very much.
Sounds a bit complex,
So here,
so you can be quite descriptive.
perfect. Great. My name is Brendan Salvo, I'm a planner and partner at Landmark Planning. Joined today by my colleague Brendan Johnson and Jessica Miranda. And before we get started, we just want to thank the committee, the clerks, the administration, the planner for that great overview of the proposal, as well as the committee consideration and all those reasons for this very exciting proposal for this property. We're having in a precinct neighborhood. So in terms of the applicant team, Paragon Design Build, they're a local developer and builder with several successful projects in the city and in the sport. Vinity Architecture led the building design process and Harper and Landmark Planning Design. We led the planning, stakeholder engagement, development of those processes. In terms of the site context, it's about 4 acres of sites located south of Court. To the east, we have a single family home and hydro corridor to the south, as noted, St. Joseph Care Facility and Bellagio Apartments.
Where's the
And then
music
to the west.
coming? Since the event this year?
There's an event in that foyer.
Okay. Thought you had nice music.
I don't mind the music. Of course. Thanks. And to the west, is single family home and then townhouse development to the west of that. In terms of the site context, we feel this is a site very well suited to support the site development, so we pretty natural. It's by the planner, but there is a desire for rental housing.
Just excuse me, perhaps you can ask them to turn it down a little bit, because it's awfully loud for that space anyways.
Scheduling, don't worry, this isn't taking up your time.
No worries. I may ask for a couple of minutes.
I may jump in and ask questions as we go, because
Yeah.
it's distracting with the music and we don't want to lose the thought.
Yeah, sure, no worries. So yeah, there's a desire for rental housing in this area, as well as affordable options and family housing options. Proposed development would add for the mix of housing options, to create a more community. There are numerous commercial amenities and services nearby, centered on our regional mixed-use center, those in Lila, and it's located within 400 meters of several transit routes.
So you're on Court Avenue, close to Walmart,
That's right, exactly, yeah, so.
just for
On the
context,
other side of the
just for the public record, yeah, and the hydro corridor is between you and Walmart,
that's right, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
and that will be developed in the future.
And or is that the as part of this south side board connect up to that. So just all context again, as noted by the planner, it's a good bid for Department of Day. We use some shop language, objectives and policies that support the project. Not like the zoning precinct communities. So those documents talk about encouraging valuable residential developments, project conservation targets, encouraging residential development that positively contributes to neighborhood character, while expanding housing options for residents, complementary housing existing developments, encouraging a variety of housing types and tenures, that's the ranges, and then facilitating development of these as more walkable, bikeable, and expansive. There is that additional layer planning this conference, which is the precinct plan. It's the plan coded on the medium density residential policy area. So this precinct plan includes a variety of objectives, and policies that support this development, creating private community integrating developments into the existing community, accommodating existing anticipated housing. Again, diversity of types, bringing the buildings up to proportions, and having the access points from the ground units directly from the sidewalk and integrated residential development occurs within an acceptable density range with the reduced consumptions and servicing costs. So we'll jump right into the fundamentals.
So if they are, somebody, sort of homes or stuff, under units, which are made up of 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom units, which is something very hard to be. So 25% instead of the affordable, or the standard scheme, program, which is a program that Paramount is used for several other projects. 250 parking stalls, like consider parking, bike parking, including that, those, bike parking is noted, and then again, that's on the scheme road site, particularly on the periphery of the site, but also here's a top view here from Ford Avenue, so it has dimension, it's essentially 2 rows of 5 buildings. So the buildings, some here, is also lives in sort of the landscape plan. So really focus on the landscaping, front yard, inside yards, in the parking areas, definitely along the building foundation landscaping. Here's a view looking towards the southwest. So again, preliminary rendering, which shows that new pathway as it would be built on the south side of Fort. Here's a view looking directly west. So to the west here, you see the field at the top of the page, and that has recently been approved for a similar complex development. So we kind of keep that consistent street edge and that consistent feel along the south side of Fort, essentially maintains right line and the corridor. This gives you a sense of the buildings that are being proposed. So again, this is looking south directly across Ford Avenue. You can see some of those benches to try to activate that Asian pathway with those portions, steps that come out directly on that pathway, creating a nice bench for the ground.
So just going back, Brendan, to the previous slide.
Yes.
So the stairs, there's a bit of a landing then,
That's right.
and then it's the AT pathway.
Yeah. So it'd be the landing, the stairs, and then a bit of a concrete, connection, sidewalk connection, to the here pathway as well. So that's the pathway connect the parking area, and every unit will be connected.
Yeah. Now, the benches, you're showing a lot of benches there.
Yeah.
There could be some thought that they could be put more facing each other, so they can talk to one another opposed to looking out. Is that possible?
That's definitely possible.
Okay.
That's one of those things that
Right, okay. So the one on the right of the screen, that one,
Yeah.
yeah, that bench. The previous, over one, sorry,
Here.
yeah. So that person, when their feet are on the ground, are they on the AT path or how much buffer is there?
There's still a bit of a buffer, so the AT path, I believe, are usually at least 1 foot off the property line, and then the bench or any landscaping.
Right.
So
Now, folks walking by might use this, so they're on private property then?
true, yeah. So that's always got the balance. We
Right.
provide these types of amenities.
Sure.
if they might attract, Yeah.
Sure. Now, that's how you can maybe put some facing the sidewalk, which they wouldn't mind, but then the ones in the middle, for example, you could try to, during plan approval, show, I'd like to see actually an option where they're facing towards each other.
So yeah,
And then maybe they're set back a little bit, and then maybe there's some greenery in front, so you're not welcoming people from the street.
that's
It's more for the folks that live there.
that's really,
Okay,
yeah, a couple for people watching and a couple. for
Right,
conversations.
yeah. And then the pergola, how do people get from the front sidewalk to the back? Would they walk through the middle of the pergola or on the sides?
Yeah, in some cases, so let's, back to, here, so, yeah, that is the thing, there's a couple sidewalks, including the ones that kind of go on drive on, so.
Right, no, but if they're walking through the pergola area, they're walking essentially through the middle of it?
Yeah, true.
So then your benches would be facing such that on the out, so they can walk through.
Yeah. So we could look at that and those are exactly the things.
Right.
we would want.
Yeah. And seating is great, you're showing a lot. When is it too much?
Fair enough.
And the pergolas as well. Maybe it's better material and do less like that. I want to have detailed discussions on. Because as I've mentioned to you, folks are very passionate about being outdoors, and that's, God bless them. It's wonderful to be outside, especially when you're in a, you know, a smaller housing arrangement.
Exactly.
Yeah, but we kind of want to do it right, and I wouldn't mind seeing other properties with you. And right now, folks on Templeton, for example, in the nearby area, I just noticed the other day in front of Ainsbrook Apartments, are sitting on an old transit bench, and I want to create seating for them near their area, and I'm going to be speaking to the apartment owner.
Okay.
I just happened to see that in my travels. So again, very passionate, but let's do it right. So people feel you want to be a little more private like me, then go inside if you want to people watch, but I like to do that too.
Yeah.
Depends on the mood you're in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, all great points,
Okay, so we will work on that.
for sure.
It's important. It's not a side conversation. It's kind of the main event too. The outside main event. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then in terms of the interior parking area, so again, all of the buildings would be connected, in the walkways. And then again, there's landscaping within the parking area, but also the emphasis on shrubs, basically, along, the basement walls.
Now, these units, they all have stairs, correct? So did we not think of doing anyone that's lower barrier free or anything?
Yeah, and that's the thing in our, kind of our original, proposal, we had kind of more of that, like apartments and style, with kind of elevators and all that. And so with the stack, like, it's, that's essentially, it's a pattern of stack. That's the main floor basement, that's that third, so they all upstairs, so.
Right,
it's tough in that
yeah, to do that.
to make them work.
Now, this is design looking northwest, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Parking area,
mhm,
in our last reports.
mhm.
And then, yeah, this just gives another example, so we have those pergolas that are kind of along, the pathways, and these are some other pergolas that we focus kind of side yard, it's not.
Yeah.
Space.
And if you can also look at ones, this is an open style pergola that prevents shade,
Oh,
that it gives shade, but if there's some covered, there's some glass ones or heavy duty plastic.
Yeah.
Is protecting from the rain, and then the bench needs to make sure it's inside. We had recently canopies installed, and somehow the construction guy thought the bench would be outside
Oh, yeah,
the canopy.
it's raining and it's.
And they had to redo it because it wasn't to spec, so it's making sure it's a little bit inside. So let's look at that. What kind of treatment can we have on top? Maybe there's a bigger one there opposed to two smaller ones. Right, okay, so very important to, and I can show you, I will take you on a tour to show you how these are used.
Awesome. Yeah, I just need to know from,
So,
yeah, so, in terms of our approach to public consultation, state board engagements, we started this process actually about 18 months ago. So we started in January 2023, we had our first round of meetings at Seven Oaks Arena, back in March of 2023. And then over that period, we did our due diligence, did that application process, worked closely with admin, and came back for a final round of stakeholder meeting at the arena again, back in December of last year, and then that was all complete. We worked to further refine the concept, the special development application or this period. So in terms of what we heard from residents, stakeholders over that kind of period is, originally we had heard some comments. We had heard some comments about and setbacks. That was when we had originally come out last March with the 7-story concept. So we had two concepts there that we've been considering, both of the 7 stories, one with 3 buildings, one with 5 buildings. And through our discussions with admin, through that feedback, we went with 3-story instead of the 7-story buildings. The site layout, parking, landscaping along the east and west helps provide those setbacks to the existing homes to help ensure some transition. And we also align the balconies away from those sides. So there's actually minimal windows on the east and west obviously, approved again landscape buffering fencing provided from the east, west, and south. We're happy to do the fence along that entire south property line, as was mentioned. And the proposed townhomes, again, that front one forward, those, there. And we also had a question about ecology. A lot of recent developments have a lot of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, and some bachelor areas. So folks are very excited to hear that there would be 3-bedroom units provided in the area. That a lot of them have known that it's like, hey, we'd love to fit, but some apartments don't allow for 3-bedroom units. And then again, that CMHC programming to have a certain percentage as applicable. With the traffic road network, again, well, would be required to upgrade toward Avenue to the border standard, including the widening of that public right of way. And I would say that was probably the main comment that we heard from residents in the area, was that Ford actually really upgraded, especially some of this area. Second upgrade for and then in terms of AT, we're hoping that as this intersections of the port develops and halfway extends, that it'll connect that into the Idaho corridor, majority of that one segment. Future. Then just the last couple slides here in terms of parking, so the proposal again features that ratio as well as accessible parking and parking in close proximity to the region's center, shop services, transit on Phillips, as well as the secure parking, as well as regular private parking. Then just lastly, servicing, the developer will be responsible for the cost of providing required infrastructure, including the port upgrades, as well as PBACs for their share in sort of water. Wastewater, as they don't report, we have no.
Brendan, in terms of parking, Brendan, you feel the parking's adequate? You wouldn't want to go less, would you?
No, and that's exactly the thing, we're always trying to find that way. There are some areas where, the cases, right, we're on the lower, there's suburban locations where it's almost transit. By go down to 1.1 or 1 to 1.2. In this area, we know, so we've done a lot of work in the area that we've heard comments from residents, definitely concerns about things like spillover traffic or spillover parking. And so we're always trying to find that right balance. Paragon, they've got a very good sense of the market in terms of, their market mix and what that attracts in terms of parking. So this 1.35 is a minor reduction, it's kind of lower than 1.5, but they think it's more than enough. So I think, we're looking at potentially like if it's going down to 1.5, well, we'll go to 1.35 to give that a little bit of a buffer there. So
1.35, and you're required to do,
1.5.
right.
Yeah. And then just last couple slides here. So there's the city Winnipeg operation. The county, I think, did a great job of getting a lot of those changes that were made, and I kind of categorize them in 2 major baskets. So the first major change was going to the 7-story multi-family concept down to the townhouse concept, and then the second major change was the initial townhouse concept, which kind of was about 220 units max density for our event. And we worked through a lot of changes, which I was here with all of them, but a lot of work was done over the course of the entire project. We have in discussions to get where we are today. We're very close in terms of what we're hoping to see with a couple minor changes that would be asking for. Just before concluding, we have some minor request revisions to the conditions. So again, very close working with the administration here. To address issues and considerations as they arose, we designed the site essentially twice. To ensure the successful development of the site, we are requesting the following recommendations deleted from section 2A, the DAS center report. And that would be in a front yard setback of 50 provided property. So as was noted, we proposed means city for think we could work at about 10, to make sure the project's still viable and still have room to provide that extra row of parking. So we could talk about that for sure.
Brendan, just on that one, so if you were gonna go to 10, what else do you revise in the project?
So we would probably have to narrow each anchor building by about a foot. So either that's probably the only way to get that additional room because, as you know already, in terms of the parking, we have several, small partial stalls, just for variance for that. So we would have to remodel the buildings, that's not ideal, but, you know, we could accommodate that, basically put on one bank of buildings, put on another, to make that work, but the 15, unfortunately, just with the product, the viability, it would work to go all the way to 15, so 10, work with the architect and the planner, or the developer over the last week to see if there was a way to make it work, and think we can go to 10. I would also note that there's recent approval January of last year, on the south side. Just have that same
Yeah.
temporary progress.
Right.
Great things.
Yeah. And that's also on the corner where there's a lot more pedestrian activity at Port and Pipeline. Now, for this one, say you were gonna do the 10, what if there was some articulation in the stairs, the starting point? How would that work? And is that a good option? Why would one want to do that?
Yeah, exactly, and I think that's the thing is that, you know, with that reduction, we do realize that, you know, it's a big ask, and it's bigger than, we've seen, although we do see quite a few. And, I think that would be the emphasis is that through plan approval, work through things like, you know, articulation of buildings, materials and that to maybe address some of those concerns.
So how do you see the articulation? Would the ones on the end be jutting forward more or the one in the middle?
Yeah, so the ones on the edges, I think are already 9 feet, or actually they're 8.9s, they're a bit further back. So we could stagger buildings and figure out a way to make that work.
Maybe
So-
we could look at examples. I'm interested in exploring that
Okay,
and how it looks. Sometimes it can be very imposing when they're all the same
for sure.
or not, because you're just used to it. I mean, what also looks architecturally appealing.
Yeah.
So if we can, you'll put that on your list. I see Brennan writing.
He's got,
Mhm, we'll see.
he's taking lots of good notes.
So, because so 10 feet, you're thinking you can do.
Yeah, 10 feet we can do. They're better buildings, yeah, so.
You've checked that?
Yeah, the architects, for that. That, but
Mhm.
it's very challenging.
Okay.
And I do have a couple of examples that I can share, which, very similar context for this.
Mhm.
So after, the slide,
Oh, you've got, can you just go to that one because we're on the topic right now?
Yeah. So here's an example. This is in, Waverly West.
Yeah,
So this is another example. I think this, setback is actually less than in,
and what street is this on?
so I think it's on South Town Road. There's also examples in Center Street.
South Town Road.
Yeah,
And how does this roadway, how is this compared to Court?
so this one is a divided, collector in
Yeah.
particular location.
Well,
but-
it's divided as well.
But it has kind of parking bay, so one lane traffic distraction for parking bay.
Doesn't look like there's a lot of pedestrian activity on this particular roadway,
Yeah, maybe not in this particular.
right? Okay, so this one here, you've got, and the stairs are going down.
Yeah,
Whereas those ones, it's like, hello, here's my front door,
yeah,
and
so
here's the stairs, right?
that's right, so that's the difference, our stairs go up, but in terms of
Is
landscape.
it the back door or the front door?
This is the front,
Interesting, okay.
Yeah.
And there it would be, you're right there, interacting with ET users.
that's right, and then here's another example, so that one had a T, this one is sidewalk. And essentially here, you can see, like, I know one of the major concerns about the narrow front yard is that trees. And of course, that's, you know, and then the challenge for certain types of trees. The targets, it's very good, you know, the landscape plan here, so he chose the very careful,
Mhm.
things that can grow in a small front yard. So shrubs, this is just an example.
Do we have greenery on ours, like the boulevard?
Yeah.
Yeah, here it just seems like there's more because the sidewalk is small. Yeah. Okay, so here it's similar, not exactly the same,
Not
we
exactly.
are going down.
Yeah, exactly. So not the exact same product, but just to kind of show how narrow the parameters and still work.
Mhm.
And work with sidewalks.
No one's sitting there either. It's different animal a little bit.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
not even just, yeah. we can go much-
Now, Perhaps later, my intent is gonna be to suggest 10 feet to 20 feet. And that's gonna give us conversation room to discuss and really hammer this out.
Yeah, that's something we can, definitely.
This is rental, yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and you want people to suggest this location when you have turnover, so. It's important for you too, for your client.
Yeah.
He's got skin in the game, he's making this, but he wants folks to suggest, hey, because there are certain. Multifamily rental that folks gravitate to, and there's other ones that they just go when they have nothing else to rent.
Yeah,
And you don't want to be that, I know Paragon doesn't want to be that option.
exactly. They want the one where, I know a lot of their buildings, they're already fully stuck with their. That's important.
Right, of course. And this is a great location because of the school and shopping and transit. I got transit coming here.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's good part.
That's right. Okay,
And then the other one is the 5 points, landscape buffer, along the length of the sub property. So we get why that makes sense in a lot of cases, we often do that. In this particular case, directly to the south of us, that's the Joseph Care, and then the Bellagio, or kind of the western portion. So where we're directly behind the Bellagio, they're quite close to their parking. We'll have that solid fence. We're happy to build as wood. And, that's the thing is that with that condition, so we have that, wooden fence, 6 feet high, the entire length of that 717. That 5 feet buffer in terms of landscaping with some shrubs, probably isn't gonna make much difference with those in the care home. There's a large field and then they're just gonna see the fence, so they won't see that landscaping either way.
so there'll be a little bit of land, greenery.
Yeah.
On the ends, but not in the middle. Sure.
Side.
Mhm.
Bit more here. So yeah, you can see here that we have actually a 6-foot setback on gray areas here. And that would be TDD kind of right there. And something for that pool. And then as you can see here, there are sections where it does.
And you're open to a wooden fence?
Yeah, it would go with fence, yeah. Originally we had said chain link, just because there's the field there, but for the discussions. Go for pay. Okay, and then the last couple minor things, those are the two major ones, because those setbacks do not major implications for the viability of actually building the buildings. Whereas the other ones, are more minor, and that is the parking lot landscaping, where we're very close. I think it's about 220 feet, but more. So we're about 6% less than. And then so we're not. It's just, it is written in the condition. We have jobs in the past condition that that's good intention. Things like landscaping and pedestrian aisles, that fencing, when it's rigid like that, make it tough to actually plan a site. So, maybe rather than having it as a condition that it has to be in front of every one of those windows, have the vision that we work with you and maybe come up with something. We really want to make sure that the folks in those basic units don't have things shining directly on them. We already have a bit of landscaping to mitigate that. But the fencing does make it challenging because you have all these things and in some cases impeding both part of the sidewalk and in other cases blocking landscaping. So
I'm sure someone's got that figured out, like
Yeah,
the project, so maybe a light proof fence or an alternative equivalent.
so
And so that's something we can work out the director, but also the LSWK. It'll be in the plan approval.
for sure, yeah, so definitely not opposed, it's written the way it is now, condition and things. So that was it, for in terms of our request revisions, just in summary.
What about the 2A, the west side yard?
Oh, yeah, so that one wasn't I forgot to mention.
Did you write that?
Yeah, I think I just added here in terms of
So there is that one.
So yeah, I think the requirement is 8, we're asking for 7.5. So it's half a foot difference, I think they can work around it, we might have to reject parking.
Okay, so you don't need that?
No, that one would be crucial, we would ask for it, you know, if the committee was open to it, or to make 7.5 versus 8, don't have major impact, but that was just one of the ones. And yeah, that's right, our actual setback from the building as well, this would actually be 7.5, but we're.
Now, the design is there, it's detailed, it's still conceptual,
That's right.
and let's have a conversation, because this is the big hurdle for the rezoning. And then we want to sit down and really look at things closely,
Exactly.
because it really sets the tone for that corridor that's gonna have other buildings come online.
That's right.
And so you have an opportunity because of the client's track record to be a leader in what's being built. So I'd like to have further detailed conversations around that.
For sure. And Paragon, you know, we work with them now for many years on, you know, say probably the most projects all over the city. And definitely something they're very, very to. And you know,
You could pass on, I'd like to speak with him directly as well.
for sure.
Yeah, I think just thanking him for his investment, but also next steps.
Great. And yeah, just to summarize, we feel this is an excellent proposal for it. It's in a site that's very, it's located in an area that's very well supported. It addresses the policies of not only our Winnipeg communities, but the precinct plan as well. It increases housing choice. It addresses resident and stakeholder concerns, which I think was evidenced by the fact that anyone out here today in opposition to the proposal. While mitigating some of this impacts that were raised through the process. And then just lastly, it's resolved in about 18 months of close collaboration with stakeholders as well as with the city of Winnipeg administration. With that, committee again under consideration on as well, and not to answer any further questions.
I think all the questions. That format worked fine, okay. Anyway.
So today it just made sense. There was with the noise in the back and the way my brain's working.
Actually, I do have
Talk about the items, yeah.
well, one question and we'll answer my second one. The property adjacent on the west, and Min could answer it, but that property, is that the one at the corner of Court and Pipeline? Or do you have a single family home in between these properties?
That's right. So basically directly to the west of us, there are 2 single family homes. And then to the west of those 2 single family homes is a long parcel. That
That's
goes
the
from
new,
the single family home all the way to Pipeline.
well, we approved the southeast corner, did we?
Yeah, on the other side.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
200 and something, units. Okay.
Right.
So that one is about 180 feet to the west of ours.
So we don't quite have enough land to finish the widening.
Mhm.
Anyway, okay, all right, thank you, that's all.
Now, there is gonna be a park in the nearby area that falls within your 400 diameter that you were showing. So we're excited to finish building that and using some land dedication funds for that, because there's so much density. The one swing set or whatever doesn't do it, we have to put proper play infrastructure in there. So we can talk about that as well.
For sure.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we'll be,
Thank you.
Great, thanks. You'll be coming back, like you said, there's probably nobody here, but I don't know if we'll have questions for administration, but you are welcome to come back and rebut things.
Thank you very much.
So is there anybody, I noticed there's a Dean Spearman in support of the project.
That's correct, yes. And he is joining us via Zoom.
Is it? Okay, thanks.
I was just asked to sit in case there were some landscape specific questions that came up, but I got the feeling that they'd be more appropriately dealt with at a plan approval stage.
Sure, but I do have a question, Dean. Thanks for being here. The setback in the front. We want trees to be healthy and viable. You feel that the 8 or 10 feet setback is fine for the health of trees?
It does affect the selection of what trees we would put in there. And in this case, I had selected a tree form that's fairly upright.
Right.
So they would get to 25, 30 feet, but they'd only be about 6 to 7 feet across. And that allows us to not really have to deal with branches that might overhang a active transportation sidewalk or brush against the building, and it reduces the pruning load.
What kind of trees are those?
My first thought was Parkland pillar birch, which is a drought tolerant birch. Generally thought of as having a 6 to 7 foot canopy, but in my experience, 5.5 to 6 is more typical.
Right. Okay, and so the 10 feet would be okay for that type of tree?
Yeah, 8 feet would be kind of a minimum. 10 would be relatively good. So I think that's workable. Obviously in a small front yard, we're not going to be planting street trees. We're going to be more doing a street front planting that's associated with development.
Right. Now, when you say very good, so it's not excellent 10 feet, it's just, it's good?
I think it's appropriate to the plants that we're selecting.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Nothing further, Mr. Chair.
Okay. All right, I'll just call out if there's anybody else here who wishes to speak in support of this application. Seeing none, Mr. Chair, I have no one registered in opposition. I'll just ask if there's anybody who wishes to speak in opposition to this matter. Anybody who wishes to speak for information? Seeing none, Mr. Chair.
No, okay, so questions, do we have questions, Councillor Sharma, for Ms. Rez?
Just wondering if
for-
there's anything else you wanted to add, or I guess, can I say that now?
Yes.
Uncomfortable unless you have specific questions.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that, just want to underscore again, when there's further conversations regarding plan approval, that if we do 10, it's a minimum, but we should still think outside the box and see what's possible, because we'll be recommending a range for the setback in the front.
Recommending a range of 10 to 20 feet.
Right. And just looking at all the details, as I noted earlier, in terms of amenities, external amenities, green space amenities. And sometimes more is not best. Sometimes building some less, but more substantial goes further. Because folks really like to sit amongst community members to enjoy the outdoors. It's not really folks sitting solo. There's not a whole lot of that. But with the options that we saw before us, we'll see both amenity spaces developed, single sort of benches, and then the pergolas as well. So I really want to be in on those conversations later
Okay.
and not, a week before the meeting's happening. Sort of, we can start anytime, like next month, and get moving on this. Okay, thank you.
Good.
But I am aware of the project, and I have been in meetings myself around the project. The applicant has not been shy about reaching out to my office, and I want to thank them for that. We've had several meetings around this.
Consultation sounded like it went well. All right, then I guess there's no real reason for the applicant to come back. Did you want to come back and make a final?
Nothing further. Thank you, Councilor.
Yeah, okay. Councillor Sharp,
Okay. We're
motion by motion.
motions.
See, they're applauding.
You're happy. Okay. I'd like to move that the report of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken as read.
All those in favor?
I'll
Nobody's opposed, that's carried.
move that the receipt of public representations be concluded.
All those in favor? Nobody's opposed, that's carried.
I'll move that the recommendation of the Winnipeg Public Service be concurred in as amended. And I'll get into those amendments and forward it on to the Standing Policy Committee on Property Development. I want to make sure I've captured everything, so feel free to jump in. All right, so dealing with the setback, that's in this section, correct? Yeah, so the setback, Mr. Clerk, I wish to,
So that is recommendation 2A, Roman numeral 3.
okay, yeah. So that setback, the intent is, I would like to put a range, 10 feet to 20 feet. Opposed to what is there right now, which says 15 feet. We're striking out 15 feet. So I'll give a range of 10 to 20 feet, and we're gonna have detailed discussions in this plan approval stage to iron that out. I think much is put on the public record around enjoyment of those coming out of their front door, and also the safety of those using the AT route.
So I'll just look to the planner to confirm that giving a range is permissible, because usually there is a specific
A
number.
set number, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen an example where we've provided a range? I have not personally. But I
Okay,
don't.
well, I'm
know
gonna
that
do it because we discussed it,
Okay,
and if something's different, then I'd like to know. Okay, so. Right, yard is,
set number?
Why don't you just say a minimum of,
That's a minimum.
yeah, a minimum of 10 feet.
say a minimum of 10.
And that works with the intent that you've articulated that you'd like to explore greater than 10, if possible.
Minimum of 10 feet.
Mhm.
Well, can we put in the range or?
I think
Peter, do
it's
you
better to just set the minimum and, when you say minimum, that means it can be more.
Yes.
If you give a range, you can't really force it other than.
Yeah, I'm aware of that, but I'm also aware of relationships and conversations. So I think everyone wants to make a good product. So sure, we'll put the minimum of 10, but knowing that we're gonna have a discussion. Now, if I did put the range, who's gonna strike it out? PP&D?
If there's concerns, if there's ongoing discussion, we could flag that at SPC.
Yeah,
But even if it's not struck out, who imposes what's the acceptable number? And so if it's not
well, that'll come
defined,
back as at plan approval.
it would come back at plan, but if you set the minimum.
Okay. Okay, you can just verify, Peter.
Yes, I understand the intent, although I do think it is preferable to set a minimum.
Okay, well, let's do that. And again, I want to underscore the conversations we're gonna have around these plans when we pour over the detailed design. Okay. And how are we dealing with 1B? It says insufficient parking lot, interior landscaping.
Oh, on the variances.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we'll leave that for now then. Okay, so then, yeah, so the 5-foot landscape buffer. Okay, we're gonna delete that. That was the request, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna delete that. And was that it for
For the DS, that
for that
also
section?
2A Roman numeral 2, there is the wish to increase the
Oh, yes.
building height to 40 feet.
Yeah, so I'm okay with it going 40 feet.
Okay.
Just to give them a little bit of wiggle room.
Right, and did you want to add for 2A Roman numeral 4 that it's, that the minimum 6-foot opaque fence is specifically a wood fence?
Yes.
You know, they have corrugated metal fences in the.
So what can we say to, again, give them some options? 6-foot opaque, wood.
You could leave it open and address that at plan approval too. That's up to you to determine.
We're gonna work on it. Okay, so we'll leave
That
it
changed?
and we are gonna deal with that.
Okay, and you had condition number 7 that you had wanted to add regarding land dedication.
Yes, so just similar to other projects on this corridor. If we can have the land dedication stay in the area because there's huge density and we need to finish that park. That's close to this location. It's not that much, surprisingly. It's not going to be. But we need to finish that park because I've got density issues in Amber Trails and we never looked at this sort of stuff and it's take a number for playing at the swings and take a number. So we need to just finish that project. If we can.
There's still a big development to go on the north side.
Which one?
Huh?
Yeah.
We haven't done that subdivision.
On the north side?
On the north side, there's
Okay,
a
well, Peter, you got that. Okay,
Yeah,
so that was it.
I just want to confirm that I have everything. So in recommendation two, Roman numeral two, which deals with the building height, we'll delete the 38 and replace it with 40, which would then be a maximum of 40 feet.
Yes,
Okay, and then in recommendation two A, Roman numeral three, we'll set the minimum of 10 feet.
yes.
And then there was another recommendation which dealt with 5 feet. So I just want to confirm which recommendation that was.
That is a V. So it's 2AV
To a,
and we're striking that, correct?
in its
That a
entirety.
minimum 5-foot landscape buffer be provided. Yes.
Okay. Right.
Okay, but there will be a buffer on part of it, right? Because it
That's
says,
currently show that there is for a part of it.
yes, because this is saying that a minimum 5-foot landscape buffer be provided along the length of, so it won't be provided along the length, but it will be provided in sections. So how do we want
That's
to?
what plans show at this time, that it's as the applicant put it, staggered, so on each end, sorry, I don't have the measurement handy, for what the length is there. It's approximately 150 feet on one side for sure, in length and 6'10", or pardon me, 6 feet 1 inch deep.
No, I'm just wondering if we remove this, just given the fact that we're gonna move the buildings back and we might need this space. But the goal is to sort of keep it on the ends right now. But there will be moving the buildings back. They might need that space.
It might, striking it might permit more flexibility in accommodating that, and as you've indicated, you're keen on working in a very hands-on way through plan approval, right, to the file coming forward.
But then in no means carte blanche, just get rid of the green space and start from there. Yeah. But a minimum 5-foot landscape buffer be provided along portions of the south property line where possible. That's very vague, too vague.
It's not, when it's
Not
not
strong
vague, it's
enough.
not, right, it's, we
not
can't
worth
do a
it.
lot with it, yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's take this out. And again, we are gonna work together.
Okay, so thus far, we're deleting the 38 and replacing with 40 in recommendation two, Roman numeral two. In recommendation two A, Roman numeral three, we will make a change to reflect the minimum of 10 feet. And then we're deleting recommendation two A, Roman numeral 5 completely. Any other changes?
And at Property and Development, Simi, are you there typically? Or
I'm
someone?
on standby,
Right, But just to, make sure someone understands why it's being deleted, because we're working on
we'll
the front,
convey that,
opposed to someone just sticking it back in,
right.
not knowing the whole. Usually I get a call if somebody wants to start.
And did you want to add a clause for the LDR funding to be completely allocated? Okay, so then that would be a new recommendation 5A, because recommendation 5 deals with LDR, correct, Simi? So
Okay, now do we need to specify why we're saying that, or will you articulate that, Simi, to whoever
just put it in.
from the public services?
Oh,
That-
we can, yeah, I can convey that too.
Yeah, I need it conveyed, because I don't want any surprises. I mean, this is a lot of density and we're just trying to finish the park. Okay,
How does it read? Sorry.
it would read that the share of dedication received from the above recommendation 5 for the Lord Selkirk West Kildonan Community Committee Land Dedication Reserve Fund shall be fully allocated to the Oldfield Development Board.
So 75% of the value goes to the whole.
Now, last time we did this,
Yeah,
we did say to be used in this precinct. Do you remember that, Peter, or we can look at that?
don't worry.
Because there's the Amber Gates Park and there's this one to be used
Yeah.
in. Okay, but anyways, you're gonna,
Council, really,
okay.
it's
Is it
fine.
the whole-
I think people would be concerned are Councilors Santos and Edie, and
It would be.
don't worry about it, it's good.
If memory serves, the last time we did this, it was whatever LDR funding went completely to.
It was for the
The
corner
whole- The
of,
whole LDR thing.
it was it was the LDR related to the north,
Yeah.
east corner
Yeah.
of.
But I think, was it the entire LDR basket for this?
You can't,
No.
25% goes to everybody else.
So it's not the entire.
Yeah,
Okay.
we as a community committee, you know, we can put the 75% there, but you can't change the. You're gonna ask them to waive, you'll ask PD and all of council to waive
Mhm.
our LBR formula. I
Okay, thank you.
think you're safer to just keep the 75%.
Sure. But do check that from the other office.
Yes.
Okay, that's it.
All right, so moved.
And we still require supporting reasons on this motion as well.
Oh, great.
Yes, okay, and that's it. We're gonna do the next one as well, so,
Supporting reasons.
yeah. Mhm. So we'll do the next one separately, you're saying?
Yes.
We have something else as well. So I think those are it for the amendments. I just wanted to say I'm really happy with the way the applicant worked with the public service and also with my office on this project. It's not easy. This is sort of infill and greenfill. It's an interesting precinct when we went through that process. And as Brendan from Landmark outlined, it meets the policy directions that we have at the city here for creating more housing stock, and it is an area that's sought after. There's gonna be buses in the area, and it's close to amenities on McPhillips. There's a new school in the area, so I think it's very exciting, and it's gonna urbanize Court Avenue. And the residents in the area have been waiting for that for quite a long time. We've got a little bit more work to do, but we are getting there. So I want to thank them for their work in putting this proposal together. It's going to be great for the area. Paragon has a wonderful track record of projects they've done across our city and specifically in the Old Kildonan ward as well. In particular, I want to give a shout out to the Jefferson project in the Maples. So great work on part of the applicant, Brendan and Brennan and the entire team. Thank you for your efforts.
Great. Okay, all those in favor? Nobody's opposed, that's carried.
I'll move that the public hearing with respect to this application be concluded.
All those in favor? Nobody's opposed.
All right. Regarding this item, please note that the committee has made a recommendation on this matter that will now proceed to council. No further representations are permitted upon the subdivision and rezoning. All persons registered for the public hearing will receive notice when the matter is to be considered by council.
Thank you. On the variance. I'll leave the page here. Here.
Page number 4.
Mhm. I'd like to move that the report of the Winnipeg Public Service be taken as read.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed, thank you.
I'd like to move that the receipt of public representations be concluded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
That's carried.
I'll move that the variance is consistent with Plan Winnipeg and any applicable secondary plan. It does not create a substantial adverse effect on the amenities, use, safety, and convenience of the adjoining property and adjacent area. including an area separated from the property by a street or waterway. It is a minimum modification of a zoning bylaw required to relieve the injurious effect of the zoning bylaw on the applicant's property, and it is compatible with the area in which the property to be affected is situated. I gave my supporting reasons earlier. Really excited that this area is developing. I want to commend them for their community consultation, working with both Kevin and Simi at the City of Winnipeg here. It's a lot of work that they've put in an effort, and they haven't shied away from this important conversations with the area councillor and with the community, with the public. So really excited for the next steps to work with you.
Anyway, I'll just, I'm supportive. I just wanted to mention, I just realized, you mentioned it. It's hard to put land together in this particular precinct, given that it is more of like an infill kind of thing. So I really appreciate our development community, in particular, this applicant and developer, for pushing forward new and optional housing in the Leela North neighborhood.
Thank you. And just one last thing, Mr. Chair, is I know the product they're gonna put out is gonna be aesthetically pleasing. That's the track record. That's the material that was shared with us today in the conceptual drawings. And so something that's gonna be functional and beautiful. Important housing that we need in the community. So thank you for your efforts.
All right, all those in
Now,
favor?
did we have any, yes, go ahead.
All those in favor? Nobody's opposed? That's carried.
Now, the recommendations be concurred in. I think we have some amendments here as well,
That's amended.
as amended. Okay, so what do we have here?
1A, you should,
Is that the bicycle parking?
no, 1A is the front yard, so we had recommended 15 feet.
Yes,
So in line with the DASZ condition,
Yes.
would you like to revise that to 10 feet?
yes, we're gonna revise that to a minimum of 10 feet. Do you have that, Mr. Clerk?
Okay, moment I would. So in recommendation 1A, delete 15 and replace with 10.
Yes, minimum of 10 feet. And then we want to address the bicycle parking. Okay, what does it say right now about bicycle parking?
Bicycle parking says that the development shall include a total of 27 fully secure indoor bicycle parking stalls to the satisfaction of the director of planning.
Okay, so let's take out the word indoor and replace with weather protected. That would be good, and I do want this to come into plan approval, so it'll be the director / LSWK. You ready, Peter?
Yes.
Okay, and then further, the light proof fence. What does that currently say?
That a light-proof fence 3 feet in height be erected and maintained for parking spaces within 10 feet of a habitable room where the sill is less than 5 feet from grade.
Okay, so we'll add that a light proof fence, 3 feet in height, or an alternative equivalent. Gives us flexibility when we work on things together. So, or an alternative equivalent, and at the end of it, let's put to the satisfaction of the director / LSWK. Okay, so we'll have that. Is there anything else?
Were you considering changes to variances under number 2 for the establishment of an open parking area to permit a west side yard of 7.5
I think
feet?
we
of
left
space?
that earlier in the other section.
That is
Wasn't
under the
there.
variances.
Okay, now they said that they were okay with 8 feet. Yeah. so
8
let's
feet
leave
was
it.
what was proposed, so, or 7.5 feet rather, right?
So we'll leave it,
And
hang on a second, let's leave it. So we're just gonna leave it,
You prepared the report with
I
the.
think we're leaving it then, right?
We struck that approval, so we recommended against the variance for 7.5 feet instead of 8 feet. So it's just
They said they were okay with
okay with
8 feet. So would we strike it out or leave it?
It's struck out right now. Did you want to leave it as is? So we not,
So what would? They're okay with 8 feet and that's what you wanted.
that's correct.
Okay, so how do we make that happen? Are we striking it out?
You
or
just leave it. You-
Okay,
yes.
leave it.
We
Okay,
did.
let's leave it.
And then two
Okay.
B was for insufficient parking lot interior landscaping. Were you considering, we are not supportive of that one. We struck that one out, the public service. Were you considering supporting that variance or leaving it
Yeah,
as is?
so you're saying there's insufficient parking lot interior landscaping.
Yeah,
There's
it's a-
only so much we can fit there.
right. It's a difference of 6 feet, which is 228 square feet of reduced parking lot interior landscaping.
I think we're
So
gonna
what
work
parking
together. We're gonna work together because we can't hamstring them because they're gonna be making some changes on the site. So let's unstrike that. Correct?
So you're approving it. So that's.
Knowing that we're gonna work together. Because if we leave it in there, they have to find a way to fit it all in and we're also trying to move buildings around and, okay, good. Peter, that's it?
Was it dramatic ending?
Okay. Peter, that's it? Okay,
Okay, so just to confirm, so the changes are then in recommendation 1A, we are deleting 10 feet and replacing it with 15 feet and replacing it with minimum of 10 feet. In condition 1, we are deleting indoor and replacing it with weather protected.
and plan approval.
Yes, in condition 1, we're adding and LSWK after director for the plan approval. We're also adding light proof fence, 3 feet in height or equivalent in condition 2, and adding that to the plan approval as well. And then in recommendation 2B, we're concurring in that one, so we're removing the strikeout. And those are all the changes that I had.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Chair?
Good. So we're all good and that's moved. All those in favor? Nobody's opposed, that's carried.
So I'll move that the public hearing with respect to this application be concluded.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Nobody's opposed, that's carried.
Okay.
Please note that the committee's decision with respect to this application may be appealed. Should you wish to appeal, information on how to do so will be included in the order issued, which will be mailed to all persons registered. And that concludes the
And
public
that
hearing.
concludes the hearings. Thank you very much. We're gonna move into reports really quick, Councillor
Do we
Sharma.
have much to do?
No.
Okay, maybe we'll just quickly do that then.
No, wait, we need to finish this meeting.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Okay, all right. So, we have, first report is an occasional liquor permit. I can't remember which one that is, Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Chair?
You're moving it, okay? All those in favor, nobody's opposed, that's carried. Report number 2, plan approval 1488 Main Street. Just quickly, Ms. Rez,
It's.
all's good with it, right? Okay, then, Council Sharma, would you move,
The
the
plan.
approval of this plan?
Yes, I'll move that, Mr. Chair. I've done a ton of work on this file. It's a good news story.
It is.
And we talked a lot about it in delegations. So moved.
Yeah, all right. Nobody's opposed. That is carried. Report number 3, which is, I can't remember the
Goodman Drive.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll move layover to the September meeting. We will bring it back quicker if we can for special meeting. And we put the comments on the record about visitor parking, snow storage, et cetera.
Excellent. So moved. All those in favor? Nobody's opposed. That is carried.
I have a new business item, just to move an extension of time. Mr. Clerk?
Yes.
Oh, so moved. The suspension, please. Suspension.
for the new business item.
Oh, yeah, everybody's in favor, go ahead.
All right, so, yes, so previously on January 9th, 2024, the Standing Falls Committee on Public Works concurred in a recommendation from this committee for the Public Service to conduct a traffic study at the intersection of McPhillip Street and Templeton along Port Avenue, and come back to this committee with the analysis on that. So the Public Service is just asking for an extension of time to our September 5th meeting.
All right, and are you moving that?
Yes, and
Okay.
if we could bring it back earlier if they're ready, Peter?
Absolutely.
Okay, yes, I move that.
Okay, all those in favor, nobody's opposed, that is carried.
Okay, I'll
Court
move
McPhillips with
adjournment.
all this development, Court McPhillips gonna be even crazy.
Mr. Chair, I'll move adjournment.
Adjournment, all right, all those in favor,
Aye.
it's done, thank you.
Thank you, Councilors.